Hey guys, Haley Lane aka Key Black here with another episode of Off the Cuff. And for this one, I want to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. I know on the last several Off the Cuffs I've said something like, oh, and I had a massive crush on the main character. No, I did not have a crush on Sonic the Hedgehog. Although I did have a crush on Knuckles when I was like 8. I'm pretty sure it was because he was voiced by Dan Green. But yeah, I made myself think about Sonic the Hedgehog with the Inspector Gadget talk earlier. Mentioning that the tone I thought would be something like between Lupin the Third and The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is actually the very first memory I have in my entire childhood. I was in like preschool, we were watching cartoons on TV, and I remember one of the episodes of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's the part where he just dropped off Tails with what he thinks are his real parents, and he's depressed, so he slides down the side of a mountain or cliff, and is like, oh well, who am I kidding? I miss the little guy. I didn't actually realize that Sonic the Hedgehog was a video game until much, much later, and my first Sonic game was either Sonic Adventure 2 Battle or Sonic Advance. I know that I got them both as Christmas gifts, I just don't remember if it was like the same year or what. I have a lot of fond memories of playing those games as a kid. Most of the video games that I had growing up were Sonic the Hedgehog games, and I think the reason is I've never really been a gamer. I'm not actually good at video games, but I do enjoy them, and I just got attached to Sonic because I think it was the safe franchise that my parents wouldn't mind buying for me. So yeah, I missed out on Halo, but damn if I didn't enjoy the adventure games. Although I don't think I won a single versus battle against my sister. I'm pretty sure she kicked my ass every single time. Didn't matter which character I picked. I'm not good at video games. But yeah, I didn't really know much of anything about Sonic Team itself, though. All my understanding of that came from Mon Pian, who, she was actually keeping up with all of the development of the Sonic and Knights games when they were happening, when Sonic Team was still a new part of Sega. I was born in '95. Sonic the Hedgehog, the original Sonic games, are before my time. And so I got to learn all this stuff from the expert who was watching it as it was happening. And not only that, but Mon Pian is also a literary expert. So she was able to kind of catch the culture references between Japan and different parts of the West, especially America, before there was really open exchange between Japan and the West, which is, again, a whole other video topic. All of this is a whole other video topic. I wonder if I can get Mon Pian on here to talk about it. It is fascinating stuff. But yeah, so the Sonic Alien Theory video, which has to do with this, also came from Mon Pian, and if you haven't seen that already, I highly recommend it. It took a lot of work to put together. The link's in the video description, and it's an excellent example of, as Mon Pian puts it, I'm gonna try and paraphrase, as soon as you start taking Sonic seriously, the charm of the series dies. All this stuff is in the background, so it's it's there if you want it, but you really shouldn't go digging for it, because as soon as you do, you might as well be watching Dragon Ball Z instead. That does the same kind of thing, and it does it right. And of course, the other reason for it, and the reason that I brought up Mon Pian's insight into the Sonic Team side of things, is part of the reason why you really shouldn't go too deep into Sonic anymore is the original team isn't together anymore. The writing has changed hands multiple times, and, the original vision behind Sonic the Hedgehog as a concept is no longer there. So whatever you're gonna get out of digging too deep into it is, it's not gonna be what was there to begin with. And anyway, the charm of Sonic himself is Sonic is a very cartoony, lighthearted, fun, cool character, There's not a whole lot of Shakespearean drama stuff happening with Sonic the Hedgehog saving furry little animals from the evil Dr. Robotnik who wants to put them into robots. And the timeless quality of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, yes, there starts to be an inkling of a story in the latter of those games, but still not much of one, It's still good guys try to save the island from the evil bad guy. And I think that most people already kind of know this about the character, right? You show them a blue anthropomorphic hedgehog and you say, Sonic's an alien! It should be ridiculous. I think I started to pay less attention to the franchise, or specifically the Sonic games around Sonic Colors, but I didn't really realize that I was kind of falling out of love with the series until much later after the Sonic movie. And of course, after I got my Sonic the Hedgehog tattoo, which, don't get me wrong, it's a really cool tattoo, but I am getting it removed. It is entirely too big on my back. But, my friends kind of called me out when I was getting too personally invested in the design of Sonic the Hedgehog and the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and I was trying to defend the really ugly design. Oh god, some of you guys might remember me doing that. I so badly didn't want the movie to suck that I was willing to just blind myself to how hideous it was, and thank God they changed the design, because that's where the charm of the character is. It's very shallow, it's very lighthearted. And the more seriously you take the character and his story and everything, the less I personally enjoy it. And I still absolutely adore the character, but looking back, all of my fondest memories of the character are either from the early cartoons, like The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and the Sonic OVA, which I will defend as those are the only two cartoons that ever got Sonic the Hedgehog completely right. Or they're from the Sonic Adventure games, and that's of course nostalgia. And then when I finally learned that Sonic was in fact a video game first and not a cartoon first, and I went back to the older classic games, yeah, like, that's Sonic. You don't need plot threads here and there, and you don't need a deep reason for the character's existence. It's just there's a blue hedgehog, he runs around at the speed of sound, and he saves little animals. And that's why I think that The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog gets it so right, you know? It's like, that's what would have happened if Sonic was an American character to begin with. It feels like Looney Tunes, you know? And then the Sonic OVA, it's completely different, but that feels like a proper, direct adaptation of the kind of cool, like, way past cool kind of vibe of the original video games. Yes, there's story in the environment if you want to go digging for it. Is there stuff going on in those ruins? Probably. Is that actually like the decrepit city of New York after some apocalyptic event? Yeah, probably. Don't worry about it, it's not relevant. We're gonna show you a cool fight between a hedgehog and a robot hedgehog. So yeah, like looking back at Sonic, I still love the character to pieces, and what I love about him is the classic stuff, you know, where you don't have to take it too seriously. It's the charm of the franchise to me is in the early stuff where you can tell the creators were really excited about the potential of this character and not with trying to reboot and reimagine and make him grow. You know, let him be classic and timeless. At any rate, thanks guys for listening and for watching. It was fun to kind of revisit Sonic after a while. As always, please leave your questions and comments in the comments section, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks again!